live this hour with Michael Brown and his Creative Real Estate Solutions team, talking about solutions to your real estate situation. If you're a seller or a buyer, if you have real estate investment questions, we're talking all about real estate, the do's, the don'ts, the ins, the outs, and some of the non-traditional aspects of real estate. Mr. Michael Brown, the man who has his pulse on the real estate game here in Hampton Roads and beyond. So glad to have you here this hour, sir.
Damien, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Hello, Hampton Roads, and happy Labor Day. Hope everybody has a happy Labor Day. It's one of my favorite holidays because, don't take this wrong if you're a tourist, but the tourists leave town.
That's right.
And traditionally, they take all the humidity at about 10 degrees. And we have this perfect weather in September and October. And I'm so happy this time of year because we, as you know, we get great weather. The Hampton Roads family, and I'm just excited, looking forward to it.
I love September in Virginia. Really is.
It's the most wonderful time
of the year. There we go.
There you go. I love that. Cue the.
I had to.
We're going to say that for next September.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, and Labor Day weekend's always nice because it's our holiday.
That was spontaneous, ladies and gentlemen. That was very spontaneous. But I say it all the time. I said I can't wait for the tourists. I don't own a restaurant at the oceanfront, so I don't care about the tourists. They cause traffic. But I get it. It's part of our economy, and I'm glad that we benefit from it. But I love when they leave because the weather just changes. My daughter's back in school. I can get to a normal routine. But
well, it's our holiday, not being service members and just being regular labor people.
We're laborers. Hey, exactly.
Eat a steak this weekend.
So everybody enjoy. Eat, overeat, have a good time. So
be America. Not much is more American than real estate.
No. There's, as you know, if you're a regular listener, I've written a book years ago called "There's Never Been a King Without Land." You can get a free copy on my website. Go to UnitedFundingCorp.com. UnitedFundingCorp.com. And it's just a passion piece to inspire everyone to have some real estate in their portfolio. It's the majority of my portfolio because I like real estate. You can explain it to your teenager. We've all played Monopoly. If you play the game long enough, you will win. It's hard to lose in real estate, unlike other markets that are roller coaster rides. If you get on and off at the right time and before it needs maintenance and the wheels fall off, you stay on the tracks. But real estate, the market's about to get very – well, let's switch way. We usually ask me, what's the state of the union?
Yeah.
Ask me, what's the state of the union?
Yeah, what is the state of the union this time of the year when it comes to real estate in Hampton Roads, Mr. Brown?
Change is upon us, sir. I've been saying for the last –
Change is a-coming.
It's here. It is here. Rates have gone up. As you know, the last couple of years with COVID or the super flu, I like to call it, the nasty flu, it really shook our world economy, our local economy. There was no foreclosures. That was the biggest piece of the puzzle that impacted real estate. If there's no foreclosures, then, if you don't pay, you still got to stay, then it created a supply issue. We all keep hearing supply chain. Well, the real estate supply chain is the biggest supply chain. We have a lot of people moving, coming and going in the military. Even the military slowed down people coming and going. So it changed our local economy, and we are one of the sweet spots for retirement on the East Coast now. So you still have people wanting to move and retire out of, if you look north, go up 13 or Route 1 or 95, you got D.C. Metro, expensive to live there. A lot of people want to retire and go south. You got Philly Metro, another big metropolitan area. You got the tri-state area, my hometown, stomping grounds. A lot of people up in the tri-state area. And you still got Boston. So these folks, a lot of them, when they retire, they look south. They want to go to Florida. Well, Florida, I got family there. It is too hot to go there. It's getting hotter with the quote-unquote climate change, whatever you want to call it. So some people are looking for other places. People go to Florida because there's a lot to do there. You got Disney, you got Miami, you got Fort Lauderdale. Well, between Florida and Virginia Beach, well, let's go up to Delaware. There's a lot of sleepy spots. Delaware, if you want laid back, you can go to Delaware. What's it, Rhea Beach, Rhea both. I can never see that town. You got the Outer Banks. You got the Eastern Shore. Beautiful places to live, but very sleepy. Now, you can go to Charlotte, Raleigh. They're inland. There's no water nearby, but people like to be on the coast. And then, other places, maybe Charleston, but there's a lot to do here. So a lot of retirees are stopping here. So we have that demand. We have people who, and they've all visited Virginia Beach. So their kids will say, well, Grandma and Grandpa live in Virginia Beach. We'll go there for summer. They live in a resort town or the metro area here. So it's a great place to live. I love it. I've been here for 20-some years, and I like to visit New Jersey. Great bread, but I don't want to move back north.
Yeah. Well, we have the first nice beach from New York down.
Yes, absolutely. And there's so much to do here. There's so many good restaurants now. I love it. I say it's one of the best kept secrets. And here's a fact that I share often. We are the largest population, our metropolitan service area, or MSA as the government would call it, is from Williamsburg down to the ocean front. We're the largest population between Washington, D.C. and Atlanta. We're bigger than Charlotte, Raleigh, et cetera. I wish we could all get together and get a football team, but the 7 cities are never going to combine, Maybe ODU, we can become a college town. That would be nice. That's kind of my vision, like a big stadium here.
It blows my mind that they have 30,000 people show up to that.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We need a bigger stadium in somewhere around here where we can get 50,000 or more. Then we can become a college town. I mean, anyway, I think that's going to happen. Maybe in 10, 20 years.
It's on the path.
Yeah. So, but I guess the state of real estate is this. I've been telling you to sell, sell, sell. People are paying crazy money because, supply's high, low, and demand was high. And now it's shifting. Well, when interest rates go up, and I've owned a mortgage company, every time interest rates go up, people qualify for less, or they don't qualify for what they want, and they don't buy. Or they get nervous. And now, everybody's gloom and doom. Ever since 9/11, the media gets very exciting because it's 24/7 and so many news outlets. Oh, the economy. So what they say is going to happen tends to happen. There's a lot of reasons it's going that way. So people are pulling the reins back. My daughter rides horses. Like, whoa, I don't know if we should buy, honey. Damien's house didn't go up another $30,000 this month. So people are going, whoa. And some examples, and this is a perspective of a real estate investor. Let me give you and I think we've had this conversation. In a normal market, Hampton Roads, the last 15, 20 years or whatever, if I was going to renovate a house and flip it, I would hope I'd find a buyer in 30 days and generally close 30 days later. And that's a house that I made look like a brand new house, right? If I could find a buyer in 30, I just flipped a house last month and we had 5 buyers in the first week, 1 offer, and they still paid a couple grand off. That was in Virginia Beach. A buddy of mine sold a house in Cavalier Manor in Portsmouth this summer, I think June, and he said it took 30 days, and he found 1 buyer, and he paid closing costs. In a traditional market, sellers pay around 3% of closing costs. You got your agents are 6%. You got about 1% in your fees and costs as a seller, and another 3% because the buyers are like, well, if you pay some of my costs, I'll buy your house instead of that house because it's usually more of a buyer's market. That's just pretty typical, and I've seen that for 20-plus years in Hampton Roads. So it costs about 10% to sell. Well, he hadn't paid closing costs in 2 years. I still haven't paid closing costs on anything I've sold in Virginia Beach. I've been very fortunate. I've got another friend of mine I saw because my daughter went back to school early, and she flips houses, beautiful homes. I mean, I'm talking about, they got the latest, as I call it, the dress, the white cabinets, the gray flooring, the light gray walls, the beautiful granite, stainless backsplash, new windows, new roof, all that, like a new house. And she's had 2 houses on the market for 2 months and not a buyer yet in Norfolk. Now, Norfolk is a beautiful city, but you got, you can go from neighborhood to neighborhood. It goes good, not so good, really good, not so good. I mean, it's a roller coaster ride. In Portsmouth, it's kind of, you got areas where, and when I say good, not so good, let me just put it this way. I always said the definition of a hood versus a neighborhood. When you, to me, a hood is a neighborhood that has a higher percentage of renters. Renters just don't care as much. They don't necessarily do. Think about driving through a townhouse neighborhood, and you look at the flower beds. You can probably guess who's a renter and who's an owner. Renters don't usually dial up their flower beds. They don't care about landscaping. They're just renting, and I don't blame them. They're not going to put weed and feed down in their grass. It's going to turn to weeds. It turns to weeds sometimes if you're trying, but when you have renters, you have neighborhoods in Norfolk and Portsmouth, you have high concentrations of renters versus owners so it's kind of a roller, and then you got to pick your schools right. So Virginia Beach is, mostly owners. There's some renters there, but it's a different type of city. So it's a hotter city, and it's the city people know, and it's a newer city, just like Chesapeake. So the market is shifting, it's slowing down. And now we're back to where the normal buyer cycle hits us. Most families want to move. As soon as the kids get out of school, they want to find something, get settled in for the summer, meet the neighbors. Hopefully the kids make friends in the new neighborhood. People want to move in the summer. They don't want to move. Who wants to move their kid in the middle of a school year? Now, there's always people coming and going. And I see an uptick in the military is going to start shuffling their personnel around because they like to do that. They move the chessmen on the board all the time. And people are moving more. But the bottom line is, just putting your house in the market with those cabinets that are 20 years old or slapping a coat of paint on them may not work. You're going to have the shinier, sparklier home. And even some of those we're getting back to a normal market. Because in a normal market, a flipped, renovated house, maybe in 30 days you find a buyer. Some other houses might take 2 months, 3 months. Depends on your neighborhood, depends on your floor plan, the layout. When I renovate a house, the first thing I look for is, can I open up some walls? Older houses are usually chopped up. No one builds houses like that anymore. Everything's wide open. You want to walk in the front door and see out the back window. That's kind of that's the style.
It's the American thing, right? It really is.
It's a lifestyle. People want to walk in. So if they're having a gathering, a party, a fiesta, whatever, they've got all this, they have that one room where we can have 20, 30 people.
The kitchen and the living room are kind of combined in a way.
Mom doesn't want to be in the kitchen slaving away, and she can't even see the kids. She wants to be able to laugh and have her girlfriend tell her a joke while they're cooking. It doesn't feel like work. It's still
and that formal dining room is kind of going by the wayside.
Hey, I'm still trying to put a pool table in mine.
There you go. There you go. Get rid of that china cabinet.
I let my daughter do homework in there. Let's use it. It's a pretty room, but nobody sits in there. Every once in a while, we'll have dinner in there. But the traditional dining room is kind of the kids are on their phones and laptops and eating in front of the TV. I mean, you're right. It's a lifestyle gone. I mean, when I was a kid, we had dinner at 6:00 every night. My dad wanted family style, but no going. The food was in bowls. I mean, just like Thanksgiving, that's what he wanted. He didn't have that as a kid. He wanted that, but I can't tell you. That's an occasion at my house that we have family style. My wife tends to have a buffet table. You want to come to my house if you get invited. She's a great cook.
Nice.
We call it Darlene's Palace. That's the name of our in-house restaurant. So,
but things are changing. Times have changed.
Yes,
that makes sense.
Yes. So I would say this: if you've got a house you want to sell, you got to now you're going to have to look at more options and that's what I do. I help people weigh the pros and cons of all their seller options. I'm a cash buyer. I helped a family member of Damien's recently weigh out the pros and cons of their options, and he chose the cash offer. So when you sell to an investor for cash, you're getting convenience. I hate to use a comparison, but it's kind of like you inherited grandma's diamond ring. And, it's a beautiful diamond, but the style is not that. It's just not there. So you could try to, hey, tell me your buddy's about to get engaged. You want to buy this ring? Maybe you can reset. Well, the quickest way to sell it is go to a pawn shop. They're gonna pay you wholesale for it. You have to leave meat on the bone. So if you sell to an investor, we buy houses. You see a sign inside a road. You Google it. You're going to have to leave some meat on the bone. You have to leave room for that investor to sell it, pay the cost to sell it, make a profit, and renovate it. And then they have to have a little buffer of safety because the market's, might be flattening out. We might take another dip. Remember 2008, values went down. That's the roller coaster ride, similar to the stock market. It goes up, it comes down. Usually it's not going to zero. That's the beauty of real estate. The dirt's always worth something. The material cost to build a house is always costs more. Yeah. So just inflation alone will always keep housing, on the rise, but we're going to have these adjustments every 10, 15 years. Honestly, most of my colleagues and experts in this business, we felt that right around when COVID started, the market should have adjusted itself. So now it's overinflated, but we've got inflation. The government printed all that monopoly money.
Well, let's talk about that. During COVID, things, and again, if you're just joining us, my friends, it's 10:20. We're live this hour. We have Michael Brown here on this Ask the Expert show with his Creative Real Estate Solutions team. So whether you're a seller with a situation or you're an investor, or you're looking for some advice when it comes to real estate, let's talk. We're live this hour. We'd love to hear from you. 627-7979. That's 627-7979. Or call Michael Brown directly. Call him off the air at 438-3838 to have a free consultation and discuss your situation. Call 438-3838, and you can also get a free copy of his book, There's Never Been a King Without Land. A free copy of that book at the website UnitedFundingCorp.com, UnitedFundingCorp.com. But we're live here for this hour, 627-7979.
And I'd like to overlap what Damien said, and thank you for that. Giving the viewer or the listening audience, an overview. I try to provide creative real estate solutions. I make every effort to help sellers understand the pros and cons of all their options. Sometimes the best option is just list your house. I've said that to many people. Hey, you should put it on the market. The market's on fire. I'm going to make a little announcement because I think I tell you we're going to help fill that option. When I sell a house, I never pay 6%, and we're creating an opportunity for people to sell. And when you sell, you save, because the most important thing when you sell your house, it might be the listing price, but how much money do you take home? And how do you take more? There's only two ways to take more money home when you sell your house. One, eliminate some fees, commissions. 6%. I've never paid 6% in commissions. I love real estate agents and brokers, but I've never paid 6% in my life. I mean, I don't mind the selling agent who's dragging buyers around from house to house getting their 3%, but I've never paid the listing agent a full 3% because there's companies that can offer you a discount. I'm going to be offering a discount. We're in the process of forming Michael Brown Real Estate. It's coming. The company's formed. We're just going through the process. And it's just going to be, another feather in my cap so that if I meet somebody and they ask me what's the best option, I said, well, here, I would just sell your house. Your house looks great, Damien. You should put it on the market, but let me give you a discounted price on the service. Or I can give you a deep discounted price if you're willing to be a little more hands-on like I am, and I can show you how to do that. It doesn't take a lot of effort to field how much do they want, how much you want to offer me, and how much you want in closing costs, and inspection, check. There's about 3 things you got to decide, but we're probably going to have a whole show on that in the next month when we're up and running officially. But that's coming. So in weighing out the pros and cons, should you do a traditional sale? I say right now, still try to do that. But what if your house doesn't sell and you've got to move to San Francisco in 90 days. Well, if your house doesn't sell in our market, if it doesn't sell and you're going through a traditional channel, the professionals are going to say, well, we could always rent it out. Aren't you excited? You could become an accidental landlord. Well, and I say that because if you're in your house and you're making a monthly payment, yeah, you're paying to be there. But if you've got to go pay a monthly payment, maybe you're going to rent in San Francisco for a year, you don't want to be paying a mortgage on an empty house while you're renting in San Francisco and paying whatever fee you got to pay out there. That's not fun. Well, if the traditional professional says, well, we can rent your house out, you got to weigh out the pros and cons of being an accidental landlord. Number one, if your mortgage is $2,000 and they say, hey, we can rent your house for $2,000, well, typically they're going to take 10% of that fee. So that's a negative $200 right there. If it takes them a month to rent it out, well, you still pay $2,000 for that month, as well as paying the utilities, the lawn care. And keep in mind, you're unless you negotiate that a professional landscaper is going to maintain the lawn while you're gone, and ALM, which is a great company, they're going to treat your lawn, or one of these other lawn care services. Expect your grass to turn to weeds, and your shrubs are not going to have that perfectly groomed like a barber came out. So that hurts, doesn't help the value. But being a landlord should be something you do intentionally. You should buy a property at a deep discount like I do, and make sure you're going to have positive cash flow. You don't want to be taking a loss every month. You don't even want to break even because the maintenance will eat you. And don't expect the tenant to change the AC filter as often as once a month. It's just not going to happen. Renter's mentality is not the same as an owner's. Have you ever checked the oil on a rental car? Nope, it won't happen. You ever made a bed in a hotel? Nope, renter's mentality. So that's the one option. I have another option that I'm well known for, and I'm probably going to do a volume of business now the market's shifting. I can give you the original full price offer. I will buy your house for exactly the value. Say if your house is worth $200,000, Damien, to keep the math simple, and you owe $190 on it right now. You got a little equity, but remember we talked about in a traditional market, it costs about 10% in fees, commissions, costs. It would cost you $20,000 to sell the $200,000 house. Well, do the math. That's you would net $180. You owe $190. You don't want to. You would then have to pay $10,000 out of pocket. That's why there's so many accidental landlords in Hampton Roads. I love my military family, and there's a benefit to the military community called the VA loan, a no money down loan. They get 100% financing. Everyone takes advantage of it, but it's not 100%. It's like 103 to 104% because there are funding fees similar to what we call MI or mortgage insurance on top. So if you buy a $200,000 house, you're going to borrow $200 plus another 3 to 4%. Let's just call it $210. If Uncle Sam ships you out a couple years later and you owe, and say your house is worth $210 and you paid it down to $200, you're still short $10,000. That's why we have so many property managers in this town. We are the number one market in the country for upside down / underwater mortgages. Upside down is when you owe more than your house is worth. Well, every VA loan starts off that way. To me, you're still underwater if you can't cover the cost to sell. So my program, I will pay you $210 for your house that you owe $200 on, Damien. I will take over the payments, and I will give you a note for the $10,000 that you owe. Zero fees. So instead of going to closing and losing $10,000 with cash, if you have it to lose, so just to avoid becoming an accidental landlord, I will take over your payments, and you still got $10,000 coming to you. That's a full price offer. And there's no fees or commissions. So the professionals, they can't really offer that because how do they make any money? So that's one of the unique things that we do at United Funding Corp, and that's our site, unitedfundingcorp.com. So if you got a friend and they're upside down, tell them to call Michael Brown. We used to say that a lot. Yeah. I can say it again. If you're upside down, call Michael Brown. If you can't pay the commissions, Don't become an accidental landlord. Weigh out the pros and cons. If you're an unhappy landlord, I can show you how to restructure your cash flow properties. I don't have rental properties. I have cash flow properties. I'm at 438-3838. That's my direct line. If I don't pick up, you'll get my answering service. Myself or one of my right-hand man or left-hand lady and one of my close partners will call you back and we'll evaluate. But I touch every deal. And we are taking live calls at 627-7979. Don't be shy. You don't have to use your real name. If you got a situation and you want to hear the answer to it, the audience will benefit from it greatly. But times are changing. We're in a new market, Damien. It's shifting back to hopefully just a normal market. Hopefully we don't see a huge dip like we did 2008. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be the same but different, as they say, But values aren't going to keep going up. The rocket ship is leveling off, and it may come down to earth again.
Yeah, you got to hold on for the ride or be prepared with whatever your situation is. And to find out really where you stand in your situation, if you're not a true professional, you got to get in touch with one. That's what Michael Brown's here for. Give him a call. Find out what he can do for you. Call 438-3838. That's 438-3838. Call him directly. You can get a copy of his free book, There's Never Been a King Without Land. And again, 438-3838. It's now 10:28 here on this live Ask the Expert show. Just about 2 minutes until our Fox News break. And then we'll be right here to take your calls and questions leading up till 11 o'clock, where we have Equity One Financial Solutions with Steve Burton at 11 and the Virginia Eats and Drinks show, newly at noon to 1. So enjoy that. But we are live here. We want to take your calls and questions all about real estate, the ins, the out, investing, and whatnot.
And we always do a segment for our investors, specifically accredited investors. I know this sounds gloomy and doomy. It's not really gloom and doom, but for investors, and I know there's a lot of financial advisor shows on this station, so I know the ears are buzzing. We are going to talk to you about how to capitalize on the down market. I hate to say it, but that aspect of my brain is excited because I'm going to be on a buying spree. There's going to be opportunities, and I do work with funding partners, only accredited investors. We'll define that after the break and so forth. So I've got guys and gals that are lined up ready to, buy at a discount and become cash flow property owners. Not landlords, but cash flow properties. So
it's an exciting time because the selling season has been the last year and a half or so, right?
It's been unique. It's been very unique. I've never seen a market that's hot, but again, there was no supply.
My friends, we've got to go to a quick break, and we're going to be right back with Michael Brown and his Creative Real Estate Solutions team. So get your calls in now. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till the end. 627-7979 to join us, or call Michael Brown directly at 438-3838. That's 438-3838. It's now 10:30. It's AM 790 WNIS, and we're live here this Saturday morning right here on Ask the Expert.